It was June 29th. We went out and knew that we were going to meet up with some friends who were also going to be downtown.
June 29th, 2024, a year ago, Rialin, Flores and Grace Routh met for dinner in downtown Boise. Little did they know that night would change their lives. Those women, they were hit in a crosswalk by a drunk driver going 40 miles per hour. It was a hit and run. Both of them left critically injured. And a year later, I had the chance to sit down with them to hear their incredible story of survival and healing. Take a look. It was a busy summer night in downtown Boise.
We were excited to go out and enjoy. We love Twilight Criterium. That happened to be that night as well.
Rialin Flores and her husband called a babysitter for their young daughter. They had dinner plans with friends.
And that's where everything kind of went fuzzy. Don't remember anything else past that.
It was my brother's birthday, and so a group of us, we had ridden our bikes downtown.
Grace Routh was with Rialin that night. They were crossing 11th and Main Street with several other people in the crosswalk.
And then that was when we got struck by a vehicle that was going over 40 miles an hour. And I was flung about 20 feet by the car.
Like Rialin was saying, I don't have a lot of memory either.
Grace was hit too.
I was.
She was lodged in the windshield. The drunk driver kept on going.
I was dislodged from the car, I think about 2 blocks down.
Both women rushed to St. Alphonsus.
Both legs were broken in different places. I broke my scapula, my face, had multiple contusions on my head, and had a severe traumatic brain injury, and I also had a grade 4 liver laceration, so I was bleeding internally.
I had a couple broken legs. I broke my pelvis in multiple places, head injury, injuries on my arms.
After weeks of intensive care in Boise, they were both transported to Craig H. Nielsen Rehabilitation Hospital in Utah.
So I woke up in a different city, in a different hospital, and there was somebody else at the hospital who's in the same accident.
What's incredible is Rialin and Grace have no memory of meeting each other for the first time at dinner the night they were hit.
What had happened is called post-traumatic amnesia.
They both bonded over being young mothers and breast cancer survivors.
I had just went through it in the year before. So between January and December of 2023, I had navigated a diagnosis and multiple treatments.
I was 36 when I was diagnosed, and then went through a couple years of treatment and mastectomies.
But they can't remember sharing their cancer warrior stories. In their minds, they met for the first time in Utah at the hospital.
It was special to have somebody there for sure.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So we would see each other passing between, and then sometimes we would have lunch together. We got to know each other as we were slowly coming out of sort of that gray cognitive fog.
After weeks of intensive therapy in Utah,
I worked really hard in occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, so that I could get home in time to watch my daughter go to school for the first time.
They both came home to Boise in August.
And I came home in a wheelchair. Worked my way to a walker, to a one-arm crutch, and then eventually being able to walk unassisted. It took time.
Grace also struggled to recover at home.
So I was in a wheelchair for about 3 months.
She endured several surgeries to walk again.
But now I'm back, I'm at the gym.
A year later, both of them are feeling stronger, and they're ready to talk about what happened.
Okay, we're all at a point that we're getting to that next chapter.
That includes talking about the drunk driver who hit them that night, Jacob Miller.
But it's also a story that exists around Mr. Miller and his history with violence and the choices he made that evening that will have forever impacted us and our families.
He pleaded guilty to the charges against him in the case, and his sentencing is in July.
We're gonna work on the things that we can control. And so creating these victim impact statements and being in front of people at the hearing, I mean, those are the things that we can control. And then his sentence is something that I don't think I can control.
There is one thing they're absolutely sure of. They wouldn't be here without their heroes.
There were so many heroes that night to have 5-6 minutes of CPR, before the ambulance came. That was just so lucky, and I'm so, so thankful to those people. There were paramedics and doctors and nurses and surgeons. There were just so many people who contributed that night.
Some of those heroes were honored by Boise police, bystanders who helped save their lives, and people who chased down the driver.
They held a ceremony at City Hall West to celebrate and thank both the first responders and the individuals who came to our aid, as well as the young men who followed and made sure that Jacob Miller had gotten apprehended. And the beauty that we got to see in our community of people showing up beside our beds and staying through the night so we weren't alone, staying with our kids so that we could get healed, and standing alongside us as we get to stand strong and to feel capable of a next chapter is something that I will always hold on to.
It's been a really difficult year, and Rialin and Grace have leaned on each other through it all.
And we were lucky to have somebody else.
So lucky to have each other.
They are mothers, friends, and true survivors, inspiring us all.
It's a gift.
7's Heroes. What a story. And both of those women told me they feel it's also a gift that they can't remember being hit that night. That has really allowed them to focus on healing and not on the trauma of what happened to them, because it was brutal, as you just heard. The drunk driver, Jacob Miller, has pleaded guilty to 2 felonies for aggravated driving under the influence and to being a persistent violator. His sentencing set for July 10th, and the women say they will be there in person to deliver those victim impact statements.